People's Assembly approved the general budget of 1,390 billion Syrian pounds, nearly half of it for social support. The Assistant Regional Secretary of the Ba'ath Party inspects the needs of citizens in the areas of An-Nabak, Qara and Deir Atiyeh. The Protestant Armenians in Aleppo and the Syriac Orthodox in Damascus hold religious masses to pray for peace in Syria and the liberation of the kidnapped victims. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Yarado Krikorian with the news in English. Syrian Arab army units continued their operations successfully in the workers' town of Adra and controlled several important points in the vicinity. A military source asserted that the Syrian Arab army has inflicted heavy casualties on the armed terrorist gangs. A unit of the police and security forces captured terrorist vehicles carrying weapons and ammunition to the terrorist gangs in the town of An-Nabak. They also stormed a terrorist hideout and found a store of weapons and ammunition. They also captured another hideout containing amounts of medical compounds and equipment stolen from government hospitals. In the farms around An-Nabak, the security forces chased terrorist gangs and combed the area and captured another hideout containing large amounts of weapons used by the terrorists to terrify innocent civilians and to attack military points in An-Nabak. A Syrian Arab army unit clashed with terrorists in a number of areas in Deir ez-Zor province, killing scores of them, many of non-Syrian nationalities. The army killed the majority of an armed terrorist group in the town of Ayyash. Among the killed terrorists were Salim al-Dubayb of the Saudi nationality, Abdul Latif al-Basis, Imad al-Sayer al-Kariz, Zakaria Ismail al-Jubari and Mut'ab al-Rafdan. A Syrian Arab army unit also targeted terrorist gatherings and hideouts in the areas of Al-Ardi, As-Sina'a and Jbeile, killing a number of terrorists. Terrorists Anas Malik al-Anzi of the terrorist group of Al-Ikhlas Brigade and Hamza Daham al-Miflih of the terrorist group of Junud al-Aziz Brigade. Welcome back. The Assistant Regional Secretary of the Ba'ath Party, Hilal, toured the living conditions in Qara, An-Nabak and Deir Atiyeh in the Damascus countryside. He asserted that Syria, with the solid will of its people and the sacrifices of its valiant army, has foiled all plots. Soon all the terrorists will be defeated throughout the country, which will celebrate victory. He pointed out that the support of the people of Qara for the army had a very important role in protecting the town and saving it from the crimes of the extremist fanatics. In Deir Atiyeh, Mr. Hilal toured the quarters that were hit by terrorism. He reviewed with the people concerned the measures taken to restore electric and water supplies and to repair the telephone lines. He also reviewed the operations of removing garbage and the traces of destruction left by the terrorists. He called upon the people concerned to accelerate the process of repairs and to give citizens the best services. In Aleppo, the Protestant Armenians held a mass in the church of Beit Il to pray for peace in Syria.
A religious mass has been yesterday held at the Armenian Evangelical Church of Bethel in Al-Slimaniya neighborhood in Aleppo city for the release of the abducted bishops and nuns and all the abductees in Syria. Worshippers lit candles and prayed for peace to prevail in Syria, for the repose of martyrs' souls and the victory of the Syrian Arab army. The participants affirmed that the Christians are not a minority in the region, but they are part of a wide of civilization stretching from Lebanon, Athens to Moscow.
In Damascus, a mass was held in the Church of the Syriac Orthodox to pray for peace in Syria and the liberation of the kidnapped people from the armed gangs of terrorism. The Mass was led by His Beatitude, the Deputy Patriarch, Poulos Asuki. The Orthodox branch of the General Union of Women took part in the Mass. They prayed to God to protect Syria and its people and to preserve stability throughout the homeland. The participating women asserted their condolences to the bereaved victims of terrorism. They pointed out that they came to express solidarity with their Muslim brothers and to tell the whole world that the Syrians are united and the unity would never be overcome by plots or conspiracies. The leader of the Turkish People's Party exposed Erdogan's theft of money and giving it to the terrorists in Syria. The Turkish paper Hurriyet published a report by its correspondent in Washington asserting the arrival of 47 tons of weapons and ammunition to the terrorists in Syria during the past 6 months.
Once more, the Turkish parliament witnessed heated deliberations during the discussion of next year's general budget. The Turkish People's Party opened the fire of Erdogan's involvement in giving money stolen from the Turkish people to the terrorist groups in Syria. Erdogan denied this accusation and blocked the report of the Committee of Financial Inspection during the past 3 years. The report exposed financial and administrative corruption. The leader of the People's Party described the budget as illegitimate, while the Turkish government spent the tax money on buying weapons for the armed opposition in Syria. The leader added that he heard the testimony of a lorry driver who was detained 2 months ago while he was trying to smuggle bombs into Syria. The driver admitted the involvement of Erdogan's men in smuggling those weapons. The leader of the People's Party also attacked the support of Erdogan's government to the Tunisian Muslim Brotherhoods and their government. He accused Erdogan of supporting the forces of repression and torched. The members of the opposition parties hit their tables, announcing their refusal to listen to the lies of Erdogan's party. The Turkish paper Hurriyet exposed the weapons smuggled from Turkey to the terrorist gangs in Syria during the past 6 months under the supervision of Erdogan's party. The correspondent of the paper sent a copy of the UN records proving that Turkey sent weapons to the terrorists in Syria.
With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Vani Genjian, but after a short break.
Good afternoon. The People's Assembly approved the draft law on the General State Budget for 2014 that is estimated at more than 1,000 billion Syrian pounds. Minister of Finance pointed out that the appropriations allocated for investment operations were estimated at 380 billion Syrian pounds, with a 105 billion increase compared to 2013 budget. This, he said, reflects the government's determination to further encourage productive work and implement the investment plan through supporting and activating small and medium projects. The Minister of Interior Trade, during opening Al Mizzi Lounge of the General Establishment for Marketing and Storage, emphasized the importance of the role played by the marketing establishments as a positive interference in the markets according to consumers' needs, through rehabilitating the lounges in all areas, in addition to establishing new centers in other areas with prices less than the other markets. Futures of the Brent crude were over $109 a barrel after concerns renewed about the amount of oil showed, whereas the Brent rose 43 cents per barrel after registering 2.5% of a weekly decline, whereas the U.S. crude was down 90 cents, falling 1% this week. The European shares climbed following the Stoxx Europe 600 index's second week of losses after a gauge of manufacturing in the Eurozone, which rose more than the forecast. The US stock index futures and the Asian shares both declined, as the Nikkei index was high 0.03% in Tokyo Stock Exchange. The US dollar declined against the euro and the yen as investors assessed the US economic data to gauge. The euro rose for the first time in 3 days against the US dollar as manufacturing and services output expanded at a faster pace than economists forecast. With this, we conclude our news. Thank you for watching and goodbye.